Hi, I'm Katie Couric. Welcome to Eye to Eye. Recent political turmoil in Pakistan could spell trouble for the U.S. According to the new book, America and the Islamic Bomb, The Deadly Compromise. Its authors tell CBS News America could face nuclear terrorism if the Pakistani government falls.
Americans may be facing nuclear terrorism if the Pakistani government doesn't hang on. We may be facing a nuclear weapon in an American city. And that's what this is about. This isn't about policy decisions. This is about where these weapons are and who controls them. And right now we've got a government that's barely hanging on, controlling a vast stash of nuclear weapons. It was pretty clear to us that there was some deal going on with Pakistan that allowed them to proliferate without U.S. interference. There were real obvious things happening, and as we found more and more evidence of that, we realized not only was the president wrong when he said that we'd been uncovering the network and we'd stopped the network, it's still going on today. We had heard about this amazingly brave British customs inspector who had run up against the network, had been on a number of big British arms cases, and he actually discovered that this all led to Dubai and that there were companies operating Dubai. And a few months before 9/11, in the spring of 2000, he goes to Dubai and he spends 3 amazing weeks there where he discovers the network is still operating, still flourishing. And as he makes his discoveries and gets closer and closer to AQ Khan, he's pulled off the case. And he's told, stop it, leave it alone. And now, since then, other officers have been pulled off the case. And it became clear to us at that point, as we learned these details, that what really had happened was the intelligence services of Britain and the United States were actually protecting members of the AQ Khan network.
What we learned in our investigation was that in following leads starting in England about a case of a UK citizen who was providing technology to Pakistan via Dubai, the Customs Service went to Dubai and found and traced that technology going on to front companies for Pakistan. That also traced out the larger network, the elements of the network that were providing all of this technology from various sources to Pakistan, to Khan's labs. They found front companies, they found financial conduits, they found the middlemen, they found the players who were procuring and providing all of this technology. But in the course of that investigation, they also found that technology coming back the other way. They found evidence of the technology coming back from Khan's front companies in Pakistan, back to Dubai, designated for transshipment on to Libya. And it was at that point that Customs went to British intelligence, informed them of this transaction, and then they got shut down. Within 24 hours, the investigation was stopped, pulled out of Dubai, sent back to London, and the proliferation was allowed to continue. There were constant situations in which the United States either ignored or actively covered up Pakistani proliferation to protect Pakistan because it was seen as indispensable in whatever the current cause du jour was.
If the United States were really interested in tying up this network, we would have picked up everybody. We would make sure they were all on the no-fly list, for example, and couldn't travel and couldn't go around the world and meet with people. But guess what? They're not on the no-fly list. And we haven't picked up members of the network. In fact, some of them are living here. There's one guy who lives in Tampa, Florida. Others have been free to travel back and forth. We seem not to be able to want to get this under control. Now the question is why?
We know that the members of the network have largely escaped any kind of sanction. That in the cases where there have been attempts at prosecution, it's been primarily slaps on the wrist and suspended sentences, small fines. No real penalties for this activity. Many of the cases have gone absolutely no place. Where are the members of Khan's network, his central core, his middlemen, his proliferators, his procurers in all of this? Most of them are living free. Some of them have been traveling back and forth inside the United States. One of his early suppliers lives in the United States and was recently granted American citizenship. Others live in France and elsewhere who were actively involved with Khan. There has been no penalty, no repercussion for the people who participated in this, and no serious effort to really wrap up the members of this network and bring them to justice. It's clear that Pakistan is still procuring for its own nuclear program, that Iran is procuring for its nuclear program, as are other countries that are trying to develop WMD. Those countries, just like Pakistan, could at some point begin to use the technology and the know-how that it gains and start to use that for profit, to try to, as Khan's network did, proliferate this technologies to other nuclear wannabes. It's a very dangerous situation. We know it's out there, and there's really not enough being done about that. This is a long-term, slow-motion train wreck, started by U.S. policy and continued by a refusal to deal with the problem seriously.